Hello Indie Warriors, I'm Literary Rose with I Dream of Indie, and today I'll be offering you my gameplay impressions of Guilt: The Deathless on the PC. Guilt: The Deathless is a roguelike action RPG adventure published and developed by Outer Brain Studios that will be releasing through early access on August 28, 2022. My impressions are based off of almost 4 hours of gameplay, although I would have liked to have played for longer. Enter a world destroyed by an unknown disaster, where strange creatures roam and humanity is sparse. In the first area of the game, you are approached by a massive boss, but is defeated by the great sorcerer Koshei? Sorry if I said that wrong. Koshei, as I'll call him, asks, or rather forces you to help him save the world through a threaded alliance of sorts. I'm not quite sure what this thread theme is exactly about, but suffice to say that you are marked to follow this through. However, some characters you meet along the way speculate that Koshei was the cause of this calamity in the first place. You traverse a dark, twisted world inhabited by an assortment of odd and terrifying monsters inspired by Slavic folklore. Think Alice Madness Returns meets Dark Souls, the latter having a clearer influence as you play the game. To start, you have a character creation screen, similar to what I mentioned before, Dark Souls, with a few options for your appearance, as well as currently 2 available factions, although there are more in the works. These 2 factions offer different bonuses and abilities to use in combat, such as healing over time or increased damage over time. I'm not quite sure how to describe the gameplay. It has the difficulty of a Dark Souls title in that the enemies hit hard, so you need to dodge and read enemy movements accordingly. But it still remains fluid, and keep up a good pace so you don't get stuck in a particular area for too long as you attempt to maneuver your way around a foe or a variety of foes. I foolishly tried to play with keyboard and mouse, but I quickly realized this game was meant for a controller, which is what I recommend. I personally found mouse and keyboard a bit too clunky, and you will appreciate the movement of a controller while in combat and outside of combat in the world map, which to me resembled Civilization games. It has a hexagonal grid design where you move forward sometimes in the dark to see further ahead, but you also have a percentage chance of entering combat when you do so. The various tiles you can roam range from empty plots to forests to docks to merchants and NPCs offering different bonuses, weapons, spells, and blood purging pools. Said blood purging pools can be used to remove levels of guilt, which you acquire from picking up items or dying and reviving. Too much guilt, and it's game over. So be wary of this meter. The docks and the forests are what I encountered so far for combat, although I did have legions of monsters of different levels chase me around the map at times and attack me. This game has me perplexed a bit, but in a good way. I cannot honestly tell if this is a single player or multiplayer game. I did not encounter any other players when I joined, but also I joined an online world. And as I read more about the game, I was wondering how that online element was going to come into play. In the store description, it talks about finding fellow player corpses and joining one another and damaging certain areas and things like that, but I really didn't see that currently, and that might just be something that will develop further in this game. I am very excited though to see how the game will progress, regardless of the potential for a multiplayer element, because the single-player gameplay is solid and satisfying. The score of this game is the right level of spoopy adventure synth that would not sound out of place in an episode of Stranger Things, albeit with a little bit more organ and piano. There's also voice acting in this game, which for me hit all the right marks and really nailed the tone. A little creepy, a bit dark, but still likable and down to earth enough to understand. And finally, the visuals are gorgeous. The dark, woodsy, gothic, fantasy, folklore vibes I live for this. Everything from the art direction to the composition perfectly develops the atmosphere of the game. Foreboding, mystical, and exciting. You play the game from a 3D third-person perspective, which only allows you to further savor in the mood of the world. The game-breaking bug I encountered was when I would finish an area and return to a world map of inky darkness. And by that I mean there was nothing on the screen but mist and my character. I could not move in any direction. I was just stuck, lost in the abyss. I tried to restart until my very last attempt on a completely different character because I'd given up at that point. Did a restart finally fix the issue and I could see the world map again. Otherwise, I would restart that particular character I made 5 to 7 times, and then if the world map just wouldn't show, give up, go back, create a new character. And yet, despite literal game-breaking moments in which I just had to start fresh, I kept coming back. I never got frustrated or angry with the technical issues because this game is good. I think what I loved about Guilt the Deathless the most is the cohesiveness of this piece. Every single element of this game feeds naturally into one another, developing a world that is rich and mystifying. While there is much growth left for this title in its features, number of characters, varying up the weapons, etc., what is here is fantastic. On its current path, this game might be a perfect marriage of fun combat and art. I can't wait to see how this one develops. For now, thank you so much for watching, and a special thank you to all of the great indie warriors and indie legends for providing your patronage to this channel. For our indie warriors level, we have Bill T, Christian Cruz, Kevalo, Adriana Amato, CJR, PSC, Julian Colvis, Jesse, Ray Lynn, Marky Mint, Dave Hart, Peekaboo, Lex Noyle, and King of the Hatch. And at the Indie Legends level, we have Jen Rose, Larkison, Mitchell Hall, Eric, Peach, Skepticism, C. Coyle, Nathan Moore, Chris Jackson, Mr. W, Blue Francis 14, The Beeferinis, Business Cody, and Carmine Red. Thank you for your support by watching this video, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any reviews or gameplay impressions. Check out the description box to see how you can become an indie warrior or indie legend yourself. Help us bring a voice to the voiceless ones in gaming.